What's up, everybody? Rook here. As you can see, I am by myself from our regular host. Archon is not able to be with us this week. He has some personal stuff going on. Hopefully he can take care of that and get back with us next week. But until then, I am here with our lovely friend, Rabbit.
Hi, guys.
Thank you for joining us today, or joining me, I should say.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm. So today we're going to be talking about World of Warcraft of all things. And I figured if we're going to be talking about World of Warcraft, Narcon can't be here. I figured the one person who could really join us today would be my friend Rabbit, because I remember back when we first met, you were running a YouTube channel where you actually was reading lore, playing the game, stuff like that back in that, what was that, 2013?
Yeah, sounds about right. It's a while ago.
I know, right? So why not? And it's a good topic. There's a lot of lore behind it. There's a lot of influences WoW has had on the MMORPG genre. We'll start off regularly though. How was your week?
My week, I've been diving into AI. That whole rabbit hole has been kind of intriguing. I'm not going to lie. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Having a little bit of communication issues between me and the AI world, but
The prompts and stuff you gotta give it.
yeah, you got to get real specific, real descriptive, but kind of like a personal assistant, you want them to do their job right. So you got to give them all the information they need to do the job. Similarly, AI is kind of like an assistant that needs to carry out a task. You got to give it the details very specifically to carry out these tasks. So you can really nerd out. You got to get real technical with your, I want to say verbiage, but
Well, if you remember correctly, when we had you on the last time, when you were asking us our questions, you asked us about AI, and we were talking about how AI would take over the world. And I was actively giving it prompts while we were doing the video, and we actually had to go a roundabout way, having it tell us if you were writing a story, how would you take over the world? And just to get it to tell us the prompts, because otherwise it won't give it to you.
yeah, you have to tell it, this is just for pretend. It's just for make believe. Don't worry. You're not really trying to take over the world, but in a Skynet scenario, let's say you were Skynet, what would you do? You have to be like that with AI.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, or it won't work with you.
Oh yeah. It's weird because we have been so into how AI is affecting creativity in the world on this. And here we are talking about how people use it. It makes some really good art. And when I say that, it's starting to get scary on how good it is. But that is not today's episode.
You guys got to do another AI episode. I would
We're
love
going
to
to
hear
have
that.
to, especially with how AI is actually becoming the norm now compared to how it was when we did our last huge AI episode.
Yeah.
Just in a couple of years, it's been a massive difference.
Yes, it has. Yeah, and I only just started using it really recently, like the past couple months, just kind of dabbling into it a little bit. I made a couple of those videos, little short videos and stuff, just playing with it. And um, I think I sent you the blooper reel. You
Yeah,
see
you did.
how wrong it could go and how it goes off on a strange direction if you don't keep it in line.
If you keep it very vague, it gets weird.
Yes, it does.
So you're making music for, you're composing music for something, and you had AI put that together?
Well,
Or was that you?
so there's a lot of different things that you can do in creating that. So you can use an AI music app, like I use Suno, and
Mm.
you can put in your own tune in there, and you can have it create, a full on song on your choice. You pick the style of song if you want to make it like a country or rap song or instrumental. You say turn this melody into a full, instrumental, and see what tangent it goes off of. Again, if you keep it vague, you never know what you're going to get. But if you're really specific, you can get some really neat things. We had like a blooper that actually sounded better than the um, product because for some reason the AI started reading the description that we typed in like it was part of the lyrics or something. It wasn't supposed to say that part, but when it started saying it, he said it with like this crazy French accent and it just went with the song so cool. Like you wouldn't know it, but he's just describing the whole soundtrack that is supposed to be playing and but it sounded really neat and I'm like, "Oh, we got to keep this. It sounds better." So,
Nice. Yeah, I asked her about that because she's been sending me some stuff and outside of our Discord and stuff, and it's just funny because the audio is really good music, and then her husband's really good at prompting AI properly and is making some really good videos, and that's really nerdy stuff.
it's fun. It's been fun. It's been addicting strangely. What I want to do is like when if we ever get to play together, I want to make our characters kind of come to life in that world and
Oh, that would be cool.
make a little mini video of us just kind of playing around in the Shire or wherever we're going to be in Middle
Yeah.
Earth.
So we were talking because WoW was our thing about how me, you, and Archon possibly running together. That would be a really cool little thing to put on our Discord because WoW.
Oh yeah. I was thinking of your streams, your live streams. You've been streaming in
Oh
Middle
yeah,
Earth
I've
and
been streaming. Yeah.
I know I want to dive in there with you. But if we all play World of Warcraft together, that'd be even better. No, I shouldn't say that. It's not better than Middle Earth. No, not what it's become.
No, not what it's become. Luckily, Middle Earth is pretty. They've done some changes to it over the years, and it's been pretty simple. I'll get into that on my week because I have been streaming Middle Earth.
Yes.
Uh, you got anything else nerdy that happened to you this week?
I can't think of any right now. I go blank. Mama brain syndrome. This is what I remember. I remember AI stuff, changing diapers. That's
AI
about all.
stuff,
That's
feeding.
memory
AI
full.
stuff, more diapers. Nah, so I'll get into my week then. So my week, I'm gonna start off because we didn't record for Thanksgiving or for Thanksgiving or that following Sunday. Typically we would record, so we release an episode coming out on the 8th. Unfortunately, due to people getting sick on that recording day and my work schedule, things just couldn't jive. So we are taking 2 weeks off instead of just one. So this episode's coming out on the 15th. So that Saturday after Thanksgiving in the US, it was interesting because I was playing Lord of the Rings and my kinship or guild outside of Lord of the Rings is the Crescent Order. And we finally got a group of 3 of us together, and we're actually starting to plan to do it more because we haven't been as active amongst the guild as normal, and it was fun. We were running instances. So Karn Doom was one of the original end games of Lord of the Rings, where you're actually going up against the enemy from the north versus from the south from Mordor. And so it was my first time ever doing that story arc. And as I finished book 1, it started making more sense on how things were going and how the Witch King was killed and all that. And I didn't understand that at first because running Karn Doom for the first time ever, I've never finished a story up to that point. So in the story, they talk about how the Witch King's come back and all this. And I was like, okay, so I know out of character that the Witch King was killed and the expansions kept going. The story just kept going. So I'm way behind in times. And we finally ran through it, and it was a blast. I actually got some screenshots I threw in our Discord of it. or in the TCO Discord. I'll throw it in the Raw Nerdy Discord. I got a picture of my character. They have what looks like the Eye of Sauron symbol in the middle of Karn Doom, and my character standing right in the middle of it.
Well, that's so cool.
Yeah, it is actually really, really cool. I actually enjoyed it. It was some of the most fun I've had in a while, to be honest. And we're going to plan on doing that. We ran a bunch of different instances. We're going to, as I level up my character, we're going to jump into more and more difficult stuff because I'm running my character from beginning to end, and she is only running while streaming. I will not play her offline. I almost did that, but Archon corrected me and was like, oh, yeah, that's right. I need to stream with her. And I turned on my stream. I was like, oops.
Good
But
catch,
that,
Archon.
I know, right? I
Good
thank
looking
that
out.
man. He's a good buddy. Um, I did play a couple other games, but really Lord of the Rings Online has been my go-to lately. If I get really bored, it's a game I jump into. I have been jumping into different characters just to see what the new starting area looks like, what I was doing with my original character, because I 100% don't remember what I was doing with my original character.
No worries. I might have traffic coming through here too at some point. So,
It's all good.
yeah.
uh, so I was seeing where I was with my characters and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's been work and Order of the Rings Online. Nothing more.
I've been, yeah, really enjoying seeing you playing Lord of the Rings. That's just, it's fun to watch, especially
It,
when I
it,
can't play. I get to watch.
yeah, it's funny how people just sit there and watch other people play Lord of the Rings. And it's like, I'm just sitting here hammering things and crafting, and people are still watching. I'm like, okay. I mean, we'll get into tangents about talking about the story of the Lord of the Rings and stuff while I'm crafting, or people will ask me questions about, hey, what do you think about this? Or how long have you been playing? Stuff like that. So it's good to actually see that kind of interaction. I see that more with Lord of the Rings than I do with other games. Like I'll play Halo and stream that at times, and people will watch and they'll say, hey, you should do this or you should do that. But Lord of the Rings, they're talking about more of the story of Lord of the Rings and their favorite areas in the game or why they don't like certain areas. I'm going into Moria right now, and there's some players that watch me or viewers, and they're like, ooh, you're going in. That's one of my favorite areas. Or, oh man, I hate that area. I kept getting lost and stuff like that. So you're going to get to see firsthand how I do it because this will be my first time in Moria.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's fun seeing like you go out to these places and it just makes them feel more real to me. I don't know if that's
Mm-hmm.
weird, but they feel more real, this whole universe that Tolkien created and we get to it feels like live there sometimes.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing about how beautiful and how thought out they did when they built the world. I love it.
Me too.
All right. So, since that was pretty much my weeks, let's roll into our main topic. World of Warcraft, the game that has defined MMORPGs for the past 20 something years or close to 20 years, somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's it's been a while. I haven't been there since the very beginning. I started to play in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 2 years after its launch, and, uh, so I got my own account in 2007, and I've had an active account pretty much ever since.
Wow. That is, I have an active account. My oldest, longest running game is Lord of the Rings Online, and it hasn't even been active that long. Oh, the account's been active. It hasn't been subscribed to consistently throughout that entire period. And you've been running a subscription that entire time.
Yeah, yeah, doing the math, that's like $3,400 total,
Mm-hmm.
around something around there.
So I've been playing since off and on. I dabbled in it in 2009 when I was in Bahrain. And then more recently in 2018 ish is actually when I started jumping into the game full time and actually really investing time into it. So you've been playing a lot longer than I have been through a lot more of the changes than I have. So what drew you into the game?
The story, the lore, it is captivating. Honestly, I had to pull a lot of extra duty, like guard duty and stuff during AIT, the job training for uh, military job training,
Mhm.
and so mine for aviation for going into avionics was about 6 months. So I was there for a while, and uh, there was a lot of guard duty, and especially in the middle of the night, and it really sucked trying to stay awake through all of that. And you don't want to get caught sleeping, right? And drill
Yeah.
sergeants will make you feel it for a while. So I would read whatever was there, and I saw a book one of the War of the Ancients trilogy, I believe it was. Unless it was called something else, but I believe it was the War of the Ancients. It was book one, and that's the story where young Malfurion, young Illidan, and Tyrande and Broxigar gets sucked into the time warp and gets stuck in a different time back then. And I just fell in love with Broxigar. I loved the story and everything. It was just such an epic story that I couldn't get away from, but it kept me awake all those hours of guard duty, weapons watch, fire watch, and I finished the trilogy there in AIT, and then I couldn't stay away from it. I needed more, so I went and got a WoW subscription and started playing at the local cyber walkies out there. I don't know if you ever been to those, but they're like places where you go to game, and they have
Mhm.
every game set up there, and you just basically pay for time to play. And I would do like the 12-hour pass, and I would stay there for my weekends.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I got into it in 2009 because my guild wasn't really active in some of the games I was playing. And so I jumped into that, and because TCO had a presence. I'm not sure if they still do, but they had a presence in WoW, and we were running around. And the way the people are in WoW, a lot of them want to just rush through the story and rush through the game because they already have characters that have been through all of it. And so for someone like me who has actually not played every single story, and because of how they change stuff over time, I really didn't stick with it because I couldn't just follow the story of the game like I normally like to do. And so I didn't really play it too much afterwards because people are rushing through it. The guildmates tried running me through some of this stuff or playing together or whatnot, but at the time I was in Bahrain, it was really difficult. Uh, but then 2018 came around. Just got back from being an FSR overseas for civilians, and I ended up going and jumping in with a friend and running through. Yeah, I was rushing through, but a lot of the times I just played some of the stuff. They made it more solo friendly, so it's easier for me to do stuff. And that's what got me into the game. The more I learned about the story, thanks to you and your YouTube channel where you were reading the novels and stuff, I got into the game. And the lore in this game is huge. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But the one issue that kept me from consistently playing is every time they released a new update, it was hard to go back and play everything up before certain events happened until more recently where they added that back in. And some of the changes I wasn't a big fan of, and we'll talk about that in a second. But what drew me into the game was my guild, and there's one thing I remember. Rest in rest in peace, Billy Mays, but when he passed away, I saw the most heartless thing I ever saw in a chat. And everybody who knows American TV and infomercials knows Billy Mays. His intro was, "Hey everybody, Billy Mays here," and followed on with whatever he was selling. And the heartless thing they did was somebody in the chat, and I get mad at myself for reading it in Billy Mays' voice and his flow and everything. And goes, and they put, "Hey everybody, Billy Mays here, and guess what? I'm dead." And I was like, "Oh, that is so harsh." And that showed me how toxic MMO communities can be. But for the most part, a lot of them, and it's because a lot of them are young kids who don't have that respect that fewer of the adults have these days. But that pushed me away a little bit. And then I started seeing the community growing and growing. And then I had one of my few friends in California played it, and and some other friends were all trying to find games we could play together. And so we all started playing that together there. And that's what got me back into the game. Now I jump in and dabble here and there, and it's mostly on Classic. But do you know where the story of World of Warcraft started?
You mean who
No,
originated it? Who
like
started it?
the original, my understanding, and this might not be accurate, but World of Warcraft takes place after the Warcraft PC games, if I'm not mistaken. But
Gotta look that up. I
well,
haven't been down this rabbit hole, honestly.
this rabbit hole, because Warcraft 1, 2, and 3 came out before World of Warcraft came out. And World of Warcraft started the tendency of, you got these games, let's create a whole giant world about it. The Lego games. Now you got Lego World. What other games are out there? There's a few other games out there that did the exact same thing. You have these smaller games, and then boom, you have an MMO for it. Knights of the Old Republic led to the Old Republic, even though I think the Old Republic takes place 300 years after Knights of the Old Republic. So when you see some of these characters in Warcraft and you're like, World of Warcraft, these characters are existing, but then you go back and play Warcraft 1, 2, and 3, you see the backstory even further. It's like, oh, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, some stories in there, even just some, not even all the main characters, but there's some side characters even that have some really great stories.
Mm-hmm.
And the character development over the years has just been incredible and and disheartening at the same time, because I do feel like they ventured off away from, you know, these characters that they have been building over the
Mm-hmm.
years. And there's some things I think that they do now in these current expansions that doesn't seem like them at all.
Mm-hmm. It's the. I see what their issue is, though, because they have to keep the story going and make it entertaining for the younger generations. And sometimes that just deviates away from what you're already established as canon for those characters. And it's like, I'm not a big fan of that. But for the most part, a lot of the big names, they've pretty much kept true to their original stories from Warcraft up into WoW. So, as we know, it released around 2004, 2005, somewhere around there. It's been around. Your mic's muted.
I think it was about 2004.
Yeah, I think so. Because I remember you said it was about 2 years after release, and you started in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
She went down a rabbit hole with her husband, and they actually figured out how roughly about how much it costs per year in subscriptions for just her. It's about a year. You're looking at about I think we calculate $180 a year to a little over 200, depending upon how much you're paying. This is just subscriptions. This ain't all the add-ons that you purchase throughout the year. And then you sat there and we're talking about how you had that running subscription and y'all crunched the numbers and you were surprised. So I crunched numbers on my end, and roughly in that length of time, it was $3,240. That is crazy. Now, I was bored and I said, all right, so we had on average about 10 million subscribers. Say they got about 10 million subscribers a year. At $180 a year, you're looking at roughly $1.8 billion in subscriptions alone. Now, if you look at that same period and it was an average of 10 million a year, now granted, that's probably not right just because gaming then versus gaming now. But say it was 10 million subscribers from 2006 to now, we're looking at $32 billion in just subscription costs over that time frame. That is a huge.
That's a machine. That's like
Yeah.
a mega machine. That's like a mega corporation type of thing going on.
What's WoW's effect on the MMORPG world? And because it's such a huge machine, it actually drives what a lot of games start doing in the long run to stay alive.
Right.
So I sit there and I've played a lot of MMOs, Star Wars Galaxies, Elder Scrolls Online, EverQuest 1 and 2. I've also played from launch Star Trek Online, Star Wars The Old Republic, and Lord of the Rings Online. I've been around those since launch. And I jump in and out of Guild Wars every once in a while. And then I will actually play a couple others. I just jump in and randomly try them out. And a lot of them seem similar because, and I'm going to put a direct correlation to WoW. WoW has driven what the MMO world has become because of the numbers they bring in and how popular they are.
Very true. Yeah.
Now, one thing I do like about WoW Classic, because I brought something back that I enjoyed in early WoW versus modern WoW, and that is weapon skill training and your skills trainings in that regard. A lot of games back in the early days of WoW had that same concept. But as you get newer games or newer updates, you see them go away from that because WoW proved it's better to do it a different way for people to be able to play it faster. And WoW is one of the first ones to start making the game flow quicker because not everybody has that same time frame as early game developers thought, to where you could actually invest a lot of time and money into the game.
That's true. Yeah. They're trying to keep up with the pace of everybody's ADD.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to keep up with either, because it's become more about quantity over quality,
Yeah.
sadly. And now they're just pushing out content to keep up with these ADHD kids nowadays that are very, I want to say, technologically savvy. And so, their attention span is worse than what ours were as kids. And you try and think back to that, like, it was pretty bad, just with us. And so you can imagine what it's like for kids now. They just don't want to, sit still, and they want that constant dopamine hit. And that's what they're used to. That's what, I guess, what it's turned into.
See, it's not, if you look at a lot of modern games, not just WoW, but a lot of modern games in general, it's not that time consuming puzzle-esque game like it was back when we were growing up. Like, I will play earlier portions of WoW's story where you actually got to solve these puzzles. And then you go and look at what the quests are like, and it's like, oh, okay, this is really simple to do. And as an adult, without looking at anything online, the older WoW puzzles still sometimes could make me have to think. There were all sorts of games had puzzles that took time to figure out. Star Wars: The Old Republic had holocrons you had to go find in each zone, and when you knew where they were at, because you could usually see them, you just had to figure out how to get to them. And without looking it up online, you could actually figure it out, but it would take some time. And it's like, oh, okay, cool, here we go. Nowadays, it's like, oh, I can just purchase the ability to have these holocrons unlocked, which makes it so much easier for me. Or in WoW, it's all right, you no longer have to do these puzzles. We've added ways to get around them quickly, because, like you said, everybody wants instant gratification. They don't want to sit there and have that feel of, what's the word I'm looking for? That feel of success or satisfaction from actually earning a hard, difficult challenge.
It's very different, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It is way different, but don't get me wrong, it's still fun. It's massively different, and that's how it's changed. And because WoW started changing with those, everybody else started following suit because they saw WoW making the money, and that's how they had to develop. That's the reason why you see servers for Star Wars Galaxies, the emulator servers, they don't have as big of a following as any kind of modern games, because they still hold true to the way the game was back then versus how it is now, or how gaming in general is now. So I have the question, what changes did WoW make that you think other developers followed suit with specifically? Because we've been broad on some changes. Can you think of any changes that the WoW has made that other developers followed suit with?
I think it's the pushing out of content fast,
Mm-hmm.
like expansions, subscriptions, keep the money coming every month and keep pushing out something new, even if it's not ready
Mm-hmm.
or it doesn't make sense. Put it out anyways. That's the trend.
That is a trend. One thing I'll say that I see WoW still do that I don't really see a lot of games in general do is loot drops from bosses. I don't see that big anymore. And like Lord of the Rings, you get loot drops, but they're not the greatest things anymore. Uh, they still have them. You still get them later on, but the early loot drops, they're just not that great. But wow, the first time I played WoW in 2018, 2019, somewhere around there, when I started getting back into it, I ran through this dungeon and got the Time Weaver Dragon. I got that on my very first run, and there have been people that have been running and running and running months. So that still drives the game, is these rare drops, these rare mounts that you can't unlock in any other way. But WoW, I don't know if WoW was the driver for all of the purchases you can do for skins and stuff like that, cosmetic changes.
They were selling a lot of those. There was realm changes, and they sell mounts and battle pets now.
Mm-hmm.
But the transmog runs, those are so worth it.
The
Still,
cosmetic changes and transmogs, I think, was started by WoW, because now everybody has cosmetics you can change on your character. Even Lord of the Rings has a section for just cosmetics. Because who wants to run around with a mismatched armor?
yeah, well, that's what you had to do if you wanted to go around in the best armor. It was never the stuff that matched. It was the stuff that
Mm-hmm.
looked so dopey.
Yeah, I'm so glad they did the transmogs.
Same. I love that aspect of the game.
Parts of what. So I will preface this with, this is my opinion, not the opinion of most of people out there. But I have a section in here called What Doesn't Work with WoW. And to me, battle pets, while fun doesn't really fit WoW, in my opinion.
Interesting take, sir.
It
Interesting.
it really doesn't. It's their take on Pokemon for the most part. Uh,
Okay.
but I can't explain it. It doesn't fit the narrative of the game. There's no major story arc anywhere that I've ever played where that is a big aspect of the game, where you
True.
have to do that to really move through. If that would have been something that they tied into a main story, then it could work. But since I don't recall a main story driving that, that was a weird addition. And to me, yeah, I do it every once in a while when I'm in the game, but I play Classic mostly, and that's not in Classic.
That's true. That's true. That's not in Classic, but it you do make a good point. It has nothing to do with the story. It's one of those side mini games that you can dabble into, kind of like
They got so many mini games.
there's always mini games in games. There's always something you could do on the side, like the original God of War. You could give do the little mini game with those little girls that are waiting for you. There's always mini games that have nothing to like deal with
Yeah, but
the
they're
main
tied
quest of the
in.
game.
They're tied into the game in some way. They're in. What's the word I'm looking for? They're introduced into the game in some way that actually makes sense for the introduction. I jumped into WoW in 2018, 2019, and that was there, and I was trying to figure out why.
I always saw critters. You always saw critters around, and it's like, oh, there's nothing more you can really do with them. And I think it just kind of went from there. Like, well, what if we can do something with them? They're around here. Let's
I
chat with
wonder.
them.
I wonder if they were like, everybody has cosmetic pets. Cosmetic pets are cool to run around with, but they can be boring at times. What if we actually just gave those cosmetic pets something special to do on their own?
Give them powers. Give them equal powers.
Give them equal powers and fight each other. We don't
That's a
want
great
them to.
idea.
We don't want them to interfere with the hunter's pets, but we'll make it where they can actually do stuff.
Yeah, it'll be cute.
Yeah. To me, it works for a vast majority of people. To me, it just doesn't work. It's a fun little mechanic to have in the game, but it doesn't really add anything to the game to me.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's not for everybody, but it's like if you happen to like it, then there you go. It's there.
Same for fishing. If you happen to like it, it's there.
I love fishing.
Every game has added fishing. Zelda has added fishing.
You have to have fishing everywhere.
Honey, I'm going fishing. But you're sitting at your computer. Yeah, see?
Not a big one.
It's one of those. There's a lot of good things WoW has brought to gaming universe, and there's some questionable things like fishing that it's oddly addictive, but very. If you actually sit down and look at the nuts and bolts of it, it's very boring.
Well, I think a lot of people say that about fishing too. In
Real life
general,
fishing's boring, but I still do it because it's relaxing.
that's the thing. It's relaxing. That's what it is.
Yeah, but if I go out fishing in real life, I'm drinking and hanging out with friends. I'm fishing in a game. It's just like chatting online and, well, drinking may be involved, but I'm not enjoying nature. Could you imagine they come up with a thing like uh, Ready Player One, and it's quite literally the oasis where you're logged in and you just see people fishing.
I can totally picture that. That'd be
That's what we
me.
do. Yeah, it's crazy. But WoW is still a massively popular game. It's one of the most popular games out there. Surprisingly, they've been around for almost 20 years. They've been upgrading the game, releasing content. They've released Classic. And what's cool about Classic is quite literally all they did was went back to the original retail version of the game and just kept that mechanic all the way through. They haven't changed the mechanics while still releasing all the updates. Like they did Burning Crusades, all that. They just
It's smart. It's a smart marketing strategy to like
Mhm.
make money on the game all over again from scratch as if
Mhm.
you never already purchased it before. They
It's
somehow
also
make you pay for it twice.
and I
Get
find a
classy.
lot of the people I know play classic over retail.
Yeah. They want to play it when it was good, right? Not
Yeah.
what it's turned into a
That
lot of the
it's
time.
fun picking up a weapon and not being and using a weapon you haven't used in a while and not being able to use it effectively because you don't have the skills in it. Instead of just
Yeah.
switching to another weapon and attacking and everything being normal.
I'm already an expert at this.
I've used
That's
these
realistic.
daggers, but apparently I'm really good at swords.
Same thing.
It's I got a feeling this game's gonna keep going and going. When you're making a billion, almost $2 billion a year off of subscriptions, so people can play the game.
It's a
It,
machine.
hmm and of course, because of WoW, Hearthstone came off of WoW, spawned from WoW. So it's like
Yeah.
they just got games and games and games spawning off of each other. And Hearthstone's a fun little game. I like their battlegrounds because it's fun. I don't care about the card version of the game, but I like their battlegrounds.
Interesting. Yeah. Oh, there's all sorts of different little aspects you can jump into whatever your thing is, that you're into. They've got it for you.
Hmm.
Whatever you want, we got it.
Yeah, it's entertaining in the sense that while you have all of this stuff going on, all of this spin-offs and whatnot, and when you play the spin-off stuff, you're learning more about the story of WoW. The lore of WoW is so expansive that it's just all I can say is wow. It's huge. They got novels. You've read some of the novels. They got movie, which I actually liked.
Same.
There are so many people out there that didn't like that movie.
Yeah, to each their own, but I thought it was great. And I just wish they would have done part two because they just left it off. Like if you watch after the credits, you see the baby, Durotan's baby,
Hmm.
which we know grows to become Thrall. And so little baby Thrall is, floating downstream and Lord Attalus Blackmore picks him up. You don't see him, but you see a man or human come pick him up. And, if you know the story, that's Lord Attalus Blackmore. He's,
Hmm.
going to raise Thrall, this orc, as a prisoner, but he's going to teach him how to fight. He's going to teach him basically the art of war and military tactics and train him to be a general. But he treats him more like a prisoner. And it's a sad story, but it's really beautiful because Thrall still, he has his humanity. And that's something, he wasn't able to take away from him, even as a life prisoner and growing up in that. So it was a beautiful story. I wish they would have continued it. I wish they would have made part two because that was probably one of the best stories that's, you know, told. That
Hmm.
people are lacking creativity and imagination these days, and we need more of that. And that was a beautiful story. And I just wish we could have seen it on the big screen. They set it up for it. They left us on that cliffhanger and they just haven't delivered yet. Hopefully one day. I don't know. We'll
Hopefully,
see.
hopefully, because I think they got enough lore in that game to really, really just make a lot of stories that expand on the world.
Oh, yeah. So
You've
much
read,
there.
you know the lore a lot better than I do. You've already told us the trilogy you started with. Is that your favorite aspect of the lore?
My favorite aspect of the lore is, honestly, the, um, this is going to sound really bad, but I will explain. Just hang with me.
Okay, I'm hanging with you.
I appreciate the racism in the the story. Okay, now let me explain. Okay, the
All right.
orcs, they're just such underdogs in this whole story because of where they come from, and then they get a bad rap with how they enter Azeroth, and they come as conquerors, right?
Mhm.
But they were actually, very peaceful tribes in the beginning. They were close to the earth. They could, they had shamans, and that was a sacred position for a tribe to be a shaman. You're basically, leading the tribe spiritually. So they were valued. Wisdom was valued, and stoicism as well. So that was a big part of the orcs. Yeah, like heritage, their original heritage, and then there's this whole thing with the Alliance, and the Alliance kinda looks down on them because of, well, how they came into Azeroth.
Yeah, and the simplistic nature of the tribes,
Mhm, but they
or
were
the
manipulated.
perceived simplistic nature.
Yeah, yeah, and they were definitely tricked into going out there under false pretenses, as we found out in the movie,
Mm,
but, um but they're really more peaceful people, and it comes out better when Thrall takes you know, head of the Horde again, and tries to repair the damage that had been done, and um, restore foster friendships between all of the factions. So um, that was a difficult hurdle to get over because of all the people that were hurt in the first
mm.
war, and so they've got a lot of working they've got a lot of work to do to repair some of those things. So that was the big that was the big hurdle, was getting over the cycle of hatred and breaking the cycle of hatred. And there were some really great, beautiful, and brave stories that came from that, from people overcoming those
Oh, yeah.
obstacles. And I just feel like humanity could really benefit from these great stories, because we often let that get in the way sometimes of great friendships.
So that's one thing I really in games in general, and this will sound horrible just like yours did, the racist aspect of characters and backstories and stuff in video games and in D&D and in WoW helps show how uh, you're not bound by those stereotypes. And Drizzt from Forgotten Realms is one of those. He's a dark drow, and he's anything but evil. Drow in 3rd edition and 4th edition were inherently evil. Drow was good. He had to overcome the challenges of people seeing a drow and wanting to kill the drow because they worshipped Loth, the dark queen. And so stuff like that. Orcs, I could see a very funny story being written where you got an orc tribe that just accidentally conquers people trying to be friendly. And it's just like they're trying to be friendly, but everybody runs in fear when they see them, and then suddenly they own the area, and it's like, we didn't want this.
Come on, guys. It's not like it's a Makara or anything. Freaking
Exactly.
out.
But it's cool seeing how well developed different races are in the books, in the game. Just the lore of the Volpera and why they went with the Horde over the Alliance, and those stories, when you had to go through the unlock of those characters, the having to do all the achievements and stuff, you understood why they joined one side over the other and stuff. Now it's just so simplistic to get them unlocked. It's like, all right, I didn't really pay attention. I just unlocked them. But when I unlocked the Volpera, it was you had to get all the achievements done. And then you could go and finish up their story and unlock them. And learning about, all right, cool, is because the Horde was the group that decided to help them overcome their challenges and whatnot. The Alliance didn't really want anything to do with them and all that. And it's like, I can see why people are drawn to the Horde. The Horde are more friendly than the Alliance are.
Yeah, the Horde is for the outcast, is very welcoming for the outcast, and then the Alliance is just these bougie, too good for you kind of folk. But that's
Mm-hmm.
just how I see it.
Yeah, after playing, I used to be strictly Alliance, but the difference is when it comes to the elves, the Blood Elves and the Night Elves are of the same people, completely different on how they went about what happened and how they split. And it actually is a really good story. And that is where you see the Night Elves don't think of themselves as better. The Blood Elves don't think of themselves as better. The Blood Elves are more driven towards the magic than the Night Elves are. Night Elves are driven more towards nature, if I remember correctly. They're into the magic, but more on the nature side of things.
Yes, they are into different types of magics. That's what
Mm-hmm.
changed their appearance so differently.
Yeah. And so that right there is a really cool story. Part of the reason why Dragonlance, the novels, I read the story of the elves and how they split to become the Qualinesti and the Sylvanesti. It was really interesting to see that brother splitting apart. But seeing how well they developed the characters and or not characters, but the races in that game, and how well defined aspects of those races are, and that they haven't deviated even with I hate bringing up modern real life stuff going on. But even with all that stuff in real life going on, they have stuck true to how they design the classes or the races, because there's outliers everywhere. I played in Star Wars: The Old Republic. I played a true blood Sith character that is full light side while
Wow,
still a Sith.
that's interesting. How'd
My
you manage that?
my meter is full light side. I have no dark side on that meter.
Nice.
While I'm playing a human Jedi who is right above gray. He's actually blue, but right above it,
Mm.
because he doesn't hold true to all the tenets of the Jedi. And the races and WoW remind me the same thing. You have a lot of characters in WoW that defy the general stereotypes of the races, which to me is fun. You still got your stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason. And even races created by a person for a story has its own stereotypes. They might not say them outright, but when you play through the game, you see those generic stereotypes come out. But not every character in WoW is written following those stereotypes. You have some Alliance humans that actually respect the orcs. You have some really intelligent orcs that actually work well with humans. You have the Volpera, who are outcasts but don't hold a grudge against everybody like you think the Horde would. You have the Pandaren, who don't hold it against each other and try keeping balance by letting the individual make the choice. Do you want to
Yeah.
go help the Alliance, or do you want to go help the Horde? Either way, you are welcome back here.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Pandaren are really chill.
Oh, I love the and the martial arts stuff. The way they set it up with the Pandarens, it's just so awesome for the monk. It is perfectly built. They actually take the real martial arts stances and stuff, and
Yes.
cartoonify them for the characters, and it looks awesome.
Yeah, that expansion was so much fun. The music for Miss of Pandaria was
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. It was I still listen to it just on my downtime. And yeah, the story, the lore, everything to explore in that expansion was so much fun. I really enjoyed that. I look forward to the remix of that one if it comes out soon.
That is something I actually agree with you on. Is the music? The music of WoW in general. They put some time and effort into creating some very beautiful music.
Oh yes. I
It
agree
I
wholeheartedly.
have to turn my audio down for the music, because otherwise I start paying attention to the music and not the story I'm trying to follow.
Yeah, I feel you there. It'll make you lost. It'll take you somewhere else. You got to watch out for that.
Oh yeah. So I was hoping Archon could be here for this, because he plays the game a lot more than I do.
I know. I was really looking forward
He
to
is.
talking with him.
We will do another episode of WoW, but when Archon's back, because
Yeah.
this would be he was really wanting to do this episode. When we were trying to come up with an idea for this episode, I was like, well, why don't we do WoW? He's like, I could talk WoW. And I was like, all right, we'll do that. Personal stuff came up. He wasn't able to make it. So this is part one of our discussion of WoW. I really do enjoy having you here today. It's been awesome. Your take on WoW and the stories is, I'm going to have to go get those books now and actually really, so you really know the lore of WoW.
No, I'm not even one of the hardcore fans. Like, there are people that really have kept up, like even with the comics and everything as well. That I have to find them. There's still books that I haven't, and comics that I haven't found yet. But so I feel like I'm missing key parts of the stories. Like, there's gaps in there, and I would love to fill those in eventually. I'll get there one day, maybe.
Well, I'm pretty sure you will. If we can get people to jump over to our Discord at discord.gg/raw podcasts, they can hit you up as Rabbit Proof on the Discord and give you any ideas where you can find this information.
Oh yeah, yeah. And we've got to post stuff up there too whenever we find anything. And
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Yeah, we do got to be more active in the Discord. We haven't been as active as we should be.
I know, no. There's a lot of conversations that happen too behind the scenes, and it's just nobody gets to really see that. I guess.
It was funny. We're having a discussion about the WoW and playing it and all that, and I was like, "Hey guys, shouldn't we take this to the main chat?" And Argon's like, "Why? It's just a conversation between us because we could get more people involved." And it's stuff like that. We just got to get better at posting in the actual Discord chat for a while.
So we can give people a chance to answer and be part of it. At least open up that opportunity for your listeners to chime in.
Oh yeah. They can always chime in. We are always watching. I reach out to randomly. I'll just say, "Hey, how's everybody doing?" Stuff like that. People put some cool stuff they saw or whatnot in there. But this episode of WoW, we really want to get Rabbit Proof the rest of the stories because, as you can tell, she knew names that I didn't know. She knew parts of the stories I didn't know anything about. So she is my resident expert. Archon's my resident expert. I know very little about WoW. I can talk all day about Dragonlance. I can talk all day about Star Wars, Star Trek, all that. WoW is not my topic of choice because, well, I didn't get into it until later.
That's okay. Hey, it's never too late to get back into it,
It's never too late for Caltrate. Those old commercials.
Yeah. Dating us.
I'm dating myself easily. All right. So, again, thank you, Rabbit, for being on. I really appreciate it. If you want to reach out, like I said, the Discord's the best place to reach us. She's a member of our Discord, so she'll see it too if you want to reach out and talk WoW all day. Also, if you want to reach us for business, you can reach us at our email, which is podcastraw@gmail.com. And our Facebook is Raw Podcast. I do post randomly on there at times. Right now, it's mostly about, hey, this episode is out. But if you hit me up there or you share a post there or something, we will see it and I will react to it just like I do everything else. I hope y'all have a great day. Again, thanks for Rabbit for joining us, and y'all stay nerdy.
Bye, guys. Thanks for having me.